Banker, scholar, lawmaker, chancellor and now Prime Minister. Meet Rishi Sunak, the new leader of Britain. He assumed office on the 25th of October and has been in the headlines ever since. There are reports on his beliefs, his policies, origins, his lifestyle, interests, habits, you name it. And there's a fat chance there's already a story on it. But how much of it is fact and how much fiction? For example, does he really belong to India? Is he really the youngest British Prime Minister ever? And is he really richer than King Charles himself? Well, the internet can't stop asking these questions, so we decided to help you out. Hello and welcome to Gravitas Plus. My name is Priyanka Sharma. And this is the story of Rishi Sunak, the 57th Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, the 3rd Prime Minister in 9 months, and the 5th Prime Minister in 6 years. Sunak is also a man of many firsts. He has broken many records surrounding the top job. To start with, he's the youngest Prime Minister with the fastest ride. At just 42 years of age, he's just a year younger than what Tony Blair was in 1997 or David Cameron when he assumed office in 2010. But is he the youngest ever in British history? Not really. Almost 200 years ago, someone much younger than Rishi Sunak stood in his place at the helm of power. His name was William Pitt. He became Prime Minister at the age of just 24. And this makes Sunak the youngest Prime Minister in the last 200 years only. No pun intended. Next question. How is he the Prime Minister with the fastest ride? Well, his rise to power has been the fastest in the modern era. He was chosen as a Member of Parliament back in 2015, and in just 7 years, he has grabbed the top office. This is another record in itself, but only in the modern era. Remember, William Pitt again retains the record for the fastest ride. He became Prime Minister within 2 years of entering Parliament. He truly was a prodigy, as they say. Sunak, albeit a bit older, is no less. Just look at what he has achieved. He is the UK's first non-white Prime Minister, the first Prime Minister from Yorkshire, the first Prime Minister of colour, the first Prime Minister born to immigrants, the first British Asian Prime Minister, and the first Indian origin Prime Minister. The first Prime Minister who is a practicing Hindu, and as bizarre as it may sound, the first millennial Prime Minister. He was born just 5 months into the 1980s. These are all outstanding achievements that are being lauded the world over. But one of them more than others. It concerns his Indian origins, a fact many Indians are reveling in. The reaction has been overwhelming and a tad bit humorous too. Some are posting memes showing slippers left by visitors outside 10 Downing Street. Some can't stop simpering at his seeming likeness to Ashish Nehra, the former Indian left-arm fast bowler. A common thread running in these memes is Indians being excited about Rishi Sunak being quote-unquote one of them. But is he really? Is he really Indian? No. Sunak is a British citizen. He holds a British passport. He was born in Southampton, England. He was educated at the Winchester College, England, and achieved his degree from the Oxford University, England. So forgive me for killing the vibe, but even Freddie Mercury was more Indian than Rishi Sunak is. Yes, he may refer to himself as having Indian roots, but remember, that's pre-independence undivided India, not the India of today. His family was Punjabi Khatri, with roots in Gujranwala, a quaint town north of Lahore in present-day Pakistan. And that's not all. 10 years before India was partitioned, Sunak's grandparents moved to Kenya. In fact, his father was born in the capital Nairobi. He relocated to England only in 1966, where he married Usha Sunak, a daughter of Indian immigrants, who was born in Tanganyika, which later became a part of Tanzania. Now, if we go by Twitter terminology, we wonder what this makes him. Indian, Pakistani or East African? I'm sure the debate is not ending anytime soon. But the only respite for Indians is Sunak being a devout Hindu. In fact, immediately after assuming office, he held a Diwali celebration at 10 Downing. Not only that, after his first speech as Prime Minister, the paparazzi spotted a red thread on his wrist, a sacred thread known as kalava, which is used for ritualistic purposes. In August this year, he observed Janmashtami, another holy Indian festival. He celebrated it by visiting the ISKCON temple in Watford, where he also worshipped a cow. And then in 2017, when he was elected to Parliament, he took his oath by swearing on the Bhagavad Gita, a sacred Hindu book. So to put it simply, Sunak has never concealed his religious identity. He has always worn his religion on his sleeve. He's Hindu and proud. You may be wondering, what does that have to do with him being the Prime Minister of the UK? Well, for Indians who were ruled by the British for 200 years, it's only poetic justice that a brown Hindu man is now running their country. But how did he get here? How did a son of immigrants secure the UK's top job? The short answer is merit. You see, Rishi Sunak is not your run-of-the-mill politician. He's a capable leader with a stellar track record. In fact, his heritage is of no concern to the average Briton. They favoured him on the basis of his skill and ability, not just in his political life, but also the many jobs he did previously. Even back in school, he had the reputation of being a perfectionist. He was a head boy, the first one from an Indian background. In interviews, his former classmates have said that they always expected Sunak to do something. They say he was a conservative in every sense of the word, not just in his outlook, but also in his demeanour. He was a practicing Hindu who avoided beef, a non-drinker who was not distracted by the allure of pubs, and a reasonable debater who always associated with the Tories. To add to this, Sunak took classes on the paths to power, a course intended to help students understand power and how to wield it effectively. Another life-changing landmark in this stint was the fact that he met his wife, Akshata Murthy, the daughter of Narayan Murthy, the founder of Indian tech firm Infosys. They were classmates at the time and were considered quite a power couple. In 2019, he became Chief Secretary to the Treasury. In 2020, he became the Chancellor of the Exchequer, and then in July 2022, he ran for the Tory leadership bid. And in October 2022, of course, he became Prime Minister. He was appointed to the post by King Charles. Interestingly, he may just be the first Prime Minister to be richer than Britain's monarch too. His estimated net worth, along with his wife, is somewhere around $830 million. Now that is more than double the estimated wealth of King Charles and Queen Consort Camilla. It's another matter, of course, that his wife Akshata Murthy's name surfaced in a tax arrangement scandal. Well, one would expect the matter to be settled now that he's Prime Minister. Which brings us to the most consequential question. What sort of a Prime Minister is he going to be? What changes is he going to bring to the UK? To start with, he's a man who means business. His first day in office saw him purge his conservative opponents from government. Not just that, he also mocked his predecessors with faint praise. He said Liz Truss had the right idea to improve Britain's economy, but she was not up to the job. His message to Boris Johnson was no less brutal. In an artful critique, he said that Johnson had become Britain's Prime Minister, not its President. As for himself, he said the mandate he secured was not a personal one and belonged to everyone who trusted him. Now, he can be excused for gloating a bit there. But you see, this self-confidence is infectious. And that is just what Britain needs right now. Remember, its economy is in the doldrums. A former head boy, banker, hedge fund manager, who studied in Silicon Valley and is married to the daughter of a business magnate, may just be what the Great Britain needs to come out of the great mess that it's currently in.